Good morning, you guys. Good morning. That was kind of a Las Vegas first show of the day. Good morning. Can we have another one? Good morning, you guys. Good morning. It's kind of like church. There's a lot of people in the back, right? We can bring you guys up to the front. I admire the fact that you're all here this morning, right? The early bird gets the worm, and I know what it's like when you're in Vegas, and especially if you're dealing with a 2-hour time zone difference, right? You probably went out a little later than usual last night. Anyone want to admit that? No? You're here to work. You're here to work, right? Well, this morning, you guys, I'm ready to pour lots and lots of information into you. I love giving as much value as I possibly can with the time that we have together today. So if you guys have questions, start to think about them now, and I'm happy to go into the meat and potatoes in as much detail as I possibly can as we get through the presentation this morning. But I have to tell you, the title's a little bit misleading. The team sent me this title here, and it should be plural, because how many of you are members of the Boutique Hub or you're familiar with the Boutique Hub? Perfect. I need a like, woo, woo. Okay, you guys know the drill. How many of you are like, I just stumbled in here. I have no idea what that is. A couple people. All right, that's all right. We'll convert you by the end. So this should be plural. Tips from successful boutique owners, because our mission is community over competition. And if you guys have been in business for any amount of time, you probably know that the fashion industry historically has been a bit siloed, would you say? Does anyone remember the days where you would go and you would sift through the racks and someone would walk by and you'd be like, don't look at my rack. Don't look at my rack, right? And you'd purposely pull some like really ugly things and be like, I'm ordering these for sure, just in case someone looked at your rack. Anyone want to admit that? No, it's a true story, it happens, right? But the fact is, we have a huge shift happening in our industry today, and that is community over competition, and that a rising tide truly does lift all ships, and there is more than enough to go around, right? We live in a world of abundance, and I think what's abundantly clear to me when I come to a market, and I look around at all the different shows and all the different brands that are here, isn't it cool to see how diverse our industry is, right? Our mission here is to make women, and I'm going to speak primarily to women as our customers today, so forgive me if that's not your customer, but primarily we're here because we want to make women feel beautiful and empowered, right? It doesn't matter what their style is, what their particular trend is. I mean, I grew up in North Dakota for Pete's sake, right? It doesn't matter where you're from, but everyone has that same basic human right. And that's why we're here. We have that opportunity with such a diverse industry with so many trends and brands, and I think that is fabulous. So guys, what we're going to do today as we go into these tips, I was thinking about these tips that I wanted to share with you, and I was reminded about just how fast our industry changes, right? This is a shift that's happened, but if you think about the changes in technology that we're all facing today, how many of you would you agree that you're so busy focused working in your business or on your business that sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees and see like what shift is happening in our industry as a whole? Anyone ever feel like that? You're like, I'm just doing payroll, right? I'm just trying to get through payroll. I don't know what's coming a year from now. And so I was thinking about something that happened to my family over Christmas break. So I've got 3 kids, my husband Eric and I, and Eric works at the Boutique Hub as well. He does all the behind the scenes things that nobody wants to talk about, that most men end up doing if they work in their wife's business. And we've got 3 kids, Hadley, Easton, and Jade, 9, 8, and 5. So we herd cats for a living, actually. And at Christmas time, we live in Wisconsin now, we went back to North Dakota. I know 2 like really strong accent states, so if my A's and O's slip out today, that's where it comes from. We went back to North Dakota for Christmas, and I come from a family of 6. I'm the youngest of 6, 5 girls and 1 boy. And our kids were so excited to stay with their cousins for Christmas. And we were excited because we were like, free babysitting. We're gonna go out. We're gonna go see all of our friends that we haven't seen in a year. And so we dropped our kids off at my brother's house and they had a slumber party. They had a great time. We didn't think anything of it until we got home from Christmas. And Eric and I and Jade, our 5-year-old, and Easton, our 8-year-old, were sitting in the kitchen. And Easton had come just walking into the kitchen, and I can hear him singing to himself. And he's singing, marijuana, marijuana makes me feel like an iguana. Excuse me? What? Can you repeat that? And he sang it to us again, and we're like, no. Where did you hear that? And he's like, I heard it from Hadley. She did a TikTok with her cousin Quinn. And I'm like, what? She did a TikTok when they had their Christmas slumber party singing this song. So like the mother in me is like, Hadley, get your butt down here to the kitchen. And she comes down to the kitchen and I'm like, what is this song? And she looks at me just with this great smile on her face and she's like, marijuana, marijuana makes me feel like an iguana. And she sings it. And I was like, Hadley, do you know what that means? Like, do you even know what that is? And she's like, no, I don't know what it means. And she's like, I sang it with Quinn, and it was because Chance and Reed and Sam, the high school boy cousins, said, you should do this, and we'll put it on TikTok. And I was like, well, let's have a conversation. So Eric and I sat there and had a conversation with our kids at 8 and 9 that we never thought we would have at that age. Number one, never listen to teenage boys because they're dumb, right? Don't ever do what a teenage boy tells you to do. And what is marijuana? All these things, right? We got to go through all this stuff. And what is TikTok? And how can TikTok be used appropriately and inappropriately? And how do you make these choices in your daily life? And we thought we were good, right? This was an hour-long conversation we had with our kids. And meanwhile, I've got to call my sister-in-law and be like, confiscate the phones, delete TikTok. You need to talk to your boys. And we thought we were good. A little time before bed, our 5-year-old Jade comes walking into the room. And I mean, we thought we were good, right? Jade starts singing this song to us again. And we're like, Jade, you can't say that at school. You're going to get in trouble. We're going to get in trouble. Like, this is not okay. And she goes, Mom, it's okay. If the teacher asks, what did you say? I'm going to say, I said Moana, like the movie. So we've got a bail fund started for Jade in our house. We figure we're going to have to use that at some point. So, the point of the story is this. For many of us, we think it's funny when people don't understand our technology, right? If you didn't have a Discman or a Walkman or like those adapters that you put in the cassette player in your car that played your Discman, like we can make fun of people about that, right? Like, you weren't alive way back when, or you didn't know who Nellie was last night. That was my high school, right? But what happens today is, if people don't understand our technology today, there's real consequences to that. Amen? Right. And it's not just personally, it's not just with our business and we can't keep up, but it's for our kids and their real life consequences, right? Our kids don't know a TV that's not a flat screen TV. Like, what is this big box that you speak of, right? Isn't that crazy? How fast technology changes. So really what I want to focus on today is because I know you're so busy trying to just get through payroll, get through this market, manage your staff, all the things that consume you on a daily basis. Today, I just want to help you see the forest through the trees and talk about what are we seeing happening in 2020 and beyond so that you can start to prepare now if you haven't already. Does that sound good? Okay, so we're going to talk about some New Year's resolutions even though we've got 11 months left of the year, not 12. We're going to talk about 20 New Year's resolutions from successful boutique owners, plural. A little bit about the Boutique Hub. I've mentioned this already. I'll talk to you guys more about it at the end. But again, this is community over competition and a rising tide lifts all ships. So number one, who's been here? Who's blamed Amazon for anything in your life? Dang it, Amazon. Okay, number one is quit blaming Amazon and learn from them. Okay, and I want to talk to you about 2 ways that you can learn from Amazon right now. Number one is, if you don't exist online, you don't exist, right? I don't want to single out anyone who just is a brick and mortar and doesn't have social media or some kind of online presence, but you have to be there. If someone Googles you and you don't show up, you don't exist, all right? So how do we do that? We've got to think like Amazon. We've got to be there, and we've got to make it really easy for our customer to do business with us. Stats show that in 2020, e-commerce sales in retail will go from 9% of overall retail sales to 13% in just 1 year, right? Think about like over a span of time, how fast that has changed from 9 to 13% in just 1 year. So if we're not there, what can we do to get there and make it easy for our customer? Number one is we always have to put our ourselves in the shoes of our customer and figure out how many clicks does it take for my customer to purchase something with me. Have you ever walked through the back door or the front door of your business, so to speak? Often we walk through the back door when we're coming into our business, but what if we flipped it and came through the front door with a fresh set of eyes? How many clicks? Let's just say you're posting on social media and you're saying, hey, buy this cute sweater at myboutique.com. How many sweaters do you think you'd sell? Probably not very many. I saw that. Because, think about this, your customer goes to myboutique.com and she knows she likes this sweater, right? And that is if she's on desktop, because if she's on mobile and she can't do this with one click, she's gone. But let's just say she's on desktop and she goes to myboutique.com, then she has to go, new arrivals? Yeah, I'll look there. She goes to new arrivals and she looks there, right? Maybe she doesn't find it there and then she goes to sweaters and she looks there. And then she finds the sweater and she has to click on the sweater to the product page. And then she decides if she likes it or not. And then she clicks to add to cart. And then she has to click again to decide if she wants to check out. Right? So on average, if we're saying go to myboutique.com, that's 5 clicks to get somewhere to sell one single sweater. So how can we make that simple? 1 click anywhere we're at, whether it's an app or it's on social media, or if we've got product tagging on Instagram, or we're sharing that exact URL if we're on Facebook or anywhere else. How is it 1 single click to make it really, really easy for our customer? I want to talk about shipping as well. How many of you guys love Amazon Prime? Right? Amen. We all love Amazon Prime. We wish the USPS could take a couple tips from Amazon Prime once in a while, don't we? Right? Shipping is a huge factor in e-commerce purchases today. So I'm not a huge advocate for free shipping all the time because I think that's going to eat into your margins, but free over a certain amount, or having a countdown timer app on our homepage that says, hey, you're $13 away from free shipping when you've added something to your cart, something that's dangling that carrot in front of our customers to get them to check out matters. Or having in-store pickup if you have a brick and mortar. Whatever it is, how can we make it easy that someone can call, click, text, whatever it is, and quickly have the product purchased and have it shipped to them with relative ease and as affordable as possible. But even more than shipping, that I think is important today, and not anyone is really talking about, is return policies. I did a workshop yesterday morning, we were talking about return policies, and I don't know if you guys have read this book, I highly recommend that you do. It's called Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh, and it's the Zappos story. And he talks about, when Zappos started, no one thought you could sell shoes on the internet. It was a really new concept. But one of the reasons that it worked so well is because they had a fantastic return policy. And their customer service was out of this world. He talks about in the book how he wanted to make the customer service so great that you could actually order a pizza through customer service. Can you imagine your customer service like ordering a pizza for someone? Seems kind of crazy, right? But the fact that they went that far above and beyond made them customers for life. And if you've ever ordered shoes on Zappos, it's pretty easy to order a whole bunch of shoes, and then with free and easy returns, if you have to send them back, you do. But what the studies show is the more lenient our return policies are, the more returns actually go down. And as a small business owner, that's a really hard concept to grasp, right? Who's amen? Like, oh, that could cost me money, right? But you guys, what I want you to think about and just flip your mindset a little bit is, are we in a position where we're stepping over $1 to pick up a dime? Right? What is the short-term effect? What's the long-term effect of that level of customer service? Because what I want to talk about in just a second is why you're not Amazon, right? Why you're not Amazon is Amazon today is filled with knockoff fashions, 100% Wish.com style fashions, right? It's not from you, it's the people that steal boutiques photos and put them up on the internet and say, hi, buy this, and it's going to fit your Cabbage Patch doll, right? Customers are pretty keen to that right now, and that's only going to continue. But the fact is, as human nature goes, people want to do business with people. And that's why they want to do business with you. They don't want to be another number on Amazon. That's why we saw the retail apocalypse, right? That's why we saw all these big box stores closing, because you were going in, some teenager was behind the counter on her cell phone, and I know that doesn't ever happen to you and your staff, right? Right? But they go into those big box stores and no one would help them. But that's why boutiques are thriving right now, is because you can help them. Whether that's in your store or it's online on your website with the great customer service I know you guys have online just as much as you do in store. You 100% are not Amazon. But one of the things I think Jeff Bezos is after more than your money is your data. Would you agree? This kind of goes back to the idea of stepping over $1 to pick up a dime. I think a lot of times we get lost in looking at the hard ROI of our business, right? What does the money in the bank tell me? But really, whether it's a vendor show or a social media promotion or a Facebook ad campaign that we're running, it's not the hard sales we're after, it's the soft ROI. It's the new customer acquisition, it's the data that we're gathering, right? It's growing our email list because it's the only customer list we own. We do not own our social media followings. Who remembers the Facebook blackout apocalypse of March 2019, where it was down for 24 hours and I saw our Boutique Hub Facebook group erupt in panic? Anyone remember that? Right? When social media goes down, we have panic attacks. We can't let that happen. That's when we sit back and we go, ooh, I'm gonna send out an email. I'm gonna drive people to my app, right? I'm gonna send out a text message. I'm gonna do something to keep my business going even when social media is down. We've gotta be thinking about the future. And honestly, what regulations are gonna come to Facebook in 2020 and 2021 are gonna change Facebook and Instagram significantly. So how are we preparing that now with gathering data and getting that soft ROI? Once we have that data, we can do some pretty cool things like segmenting our list and building smart automations. And I went into great detail with this yesterday, but I'm gonna give you a couple high points, and if you guys wanna go deeper in the Q&A session, I'm happy to do that. But a couple ways to make sure we're growing our list and we're segmenting our list. Number one, is local versus non-local. How many of you guys have a brick and mortar and you're online? Several of you. How many of you guys are just brick and mortar? Just a couple. How many of you are just online? Okay, lots of you. So if you are both, if you're dabbling in both worlds, or let's say you're online only, but you do pop-ups here and there, you want to speak to your customers differently. Because one of the greatest trends in marketing in 2020 with the rise of AI is personalization. So we're supposed to, in the words of Mary Kay Ash, look at every individual we touch as if they have a sign around their neck that says, make me feel important. And that's why you're not Amazon, because you have that opportunity. So when we segment our list, we can segment local versus non-local. So we can invite you into the store for a promotion or talk to you online about an online promotion. We can look at size. How many of you guys struggle with one extreme or the other, either selling smalls and extra smalls or XL and above? How many of you feel like you've got one end of the spectrum that's not equal? Perfect, lots of you, okay? So the amount of data we have available to us today, whether it's through a point of sale solution or Shopify, how many Shopify users do we have in the audience? Majority of you, perfect. I talk a lot about Shopify. We have that availability at our fingertips to run those reports and understand sizing because we want to make people feel important. Now we can segment our list and say, hey, if we have our plus size pieces that we want to send out, we're not going to send them out to our small and extra small customer. We're going to make sure we've got the right photography in our emails, and we're going to send that out to our plus size customers. Because a plus size customer is not going to react to some skinny chick that's an extra small. Right? It's not going to work. And vice versa. So how do we segment that list according to size? Another great way to segment lists is according to brand. And I see a huge trend coming in the industry right now, and it's kind of reverting back to the original boutique days of more quality and more brand awareness, I would say. You know, we all kind of went down this road of fast fashion. They're 100% all in on fast fashion, where our customers didn't have any brand recognition with what we were carrying. But I see that shift. Fast fashion and those brands and those affordable pieces are still really important, but our customers also saying, you know what, I don't want to wear something twice and it fall apart. I also want something that's an investment piece or a stable piece or something that has some brand recognition. So once we've built that brand awareness with our customers, now we can segment our list and say, guess what? We're restocking Dear John denim, or whatever it is. And we know that those customers buy deep into those lines, and now we can make them feel important, and chances are they're gonna convert at a much higher percentage. You with me? So 80% of our revenue often comes from 20% of our list. So the more we can speak to them individually, the better. All right, number 3. Let's just talk about our mindsets for a second. How many of you guys would agree that your business is 90% or more your mindset more than the function of your business? Ooh, raise your hands a lot higher. That was pretty shy. I 100% agree that business is more mindset than anything else, because our mindset impacts the very next decision we make every single moment of every single day. We decide every action we take. And something that happens, I think, in our industry with the rise of social media, and it's not just, I've got to take a step back, it's not even just social media, but how many of your moms said, oh, you're keeping up with the Joneses, right? Oh, it's keeping up. I don't know who the Joneses were, but we were always trying to keep up with them. And on social media today, we're doing the exact same stuff. And it leaves so many boutique owners that I work with in this trap, saying, you know what, I'll be successful if I open a brick and mortar. Or I'll be successful if I can go to Magic. I'll be successful if I get, 1,000 orders on my website. I'll be successful because we see everybody else doing it online and we're like, she's got it figured out, right? This is what she's posting online, she's got it figured out. But the truth is, the thing that makes every single one of us successful is not the crap we post online, right? It's the stuff that nobody else sees. It's the hard stuff. It's the times when it is late at night and you want to be home with your kids or your spouse and you're running the numbers and you're doing the books and you're running the science side of your brain and not the art side of our brain. So many times we get into this business because we love fashion, right? We love people, we love fashion, we think we're good on social media, but that's not what pays the bills at the end of the day. It's the science side of what we do, and that's the thing that nobody talks about online. The biggest shift I see happening in 2020 is staying in your lane. So what you want to do in 2020 with your business, you have to decide right now. Is bigger better or is better better? And how much time do you want to allocate to this business or to the rest of your life? My father-in-law is an insurance agent, and he's been in insurance for, 35 years, as long as he's been married. He's never once dreamed about having another profession, right? This is his thing. But is that the life that we want? Is it just this one thing, or are there lots of things? Is it work to live or live to work? It's the decision at the end of the day. Number 4, let's talk about the flip side of social media. As much as we're going to stay in our own lane, right, and we're not going to be influenced by social media, the flip side to that is social media has real influence. And influencers and bloggers are kind of this, I think they're still kind of this wishy-washy area where we're like, ooh, does it work? Does it not work? Should I get in? I see everyone else getting in. How many of you guys have had a successful relationship with an influencer so far? A couple of you. How many of you guys are like, I had a not very good situation? How many of you are like, I'm scared to try it? Okay, so equal mix. This is why it's so wishy-washy. So if I can just take a moment and shed some light on what I see working and what's not working. People want to feel that they're doing business with someone they know, like, and trust, right? So when we're looking for an influencer to collaborate with, the most important metric that we could ever look for is not how many followers they have, right? But is who is it that know, like, and trust that influencer? And is that person your customer, right? I had someone ask me not too long ago, what's the best way to find an influencer? And I said, Instagram stalk them? Like, yes, stalk them, right? You ask your followers, who are they following? And you go stalk those people, for lack of a better word, and you see if they're a good fit, right? It has to be a good fit. How many of you guys feel like you have had your Instagram DMs blow up with someone saying, hi, I'm an up-and-coming influencer. Will you please send me free product and I'll promote it to my 20,000 fake followers? Every single day, right? Don't fall for that trap. Find somebody that matches your customer base. And followers don't matter. Truly what matters is engagement, right? Are they commenting to every comment, and are the comments real? Are they genuine? Is the person real to what they're posting about, or are they just posting about crap that they got for free, #ad? Look at my new teeth whitening system. Oh, isn't it awesome, right? Or is it something that they genuinely love? If they're promoting Coke, are they also promoting Pepsi? That says a lot about somebody, doesn't it? Right? Find somebody who is true to who they are. There is this big saying in marketing about this 100 true fans, or 1,000 true fans, however you want to say it. Your 100 true fans will do you more business at the end of the day than 10,000 followers. So find the micro and the nano influencers that really have honed their skill and start collaborating with them. But can I tell you the number one reason why collaborations don't work? The number one reason why is unmet expectations. Unmet expectations. So, do you have a contract? Because we all like the idea of setting up an agreement, but we're kind of like, I don't want to spend $100 to hire an attorney, but we have to have a contract. So inside of the Boutique Hub, one thing that we are super proud of is we have a training library where we take all these things that we see happening in the industry and we make them available to you. So things like influencer contracts or checklists to work with an influencer, all of that stuff is inside of our training library. The contract is really important because it says, I'm going to provide this, you're going to provide that, and this is our outcome that we're expecting, right? So make sure you've got clear expectations with any influencer that you're going to work with. But then let me throw like one last flip in this, okay? Is it worth it to invest $500, $1,200 into an influencer relationship for new customer acquisition? They aren't going to purchase something. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Working with an influencer does not mean that people are going to purchase the sweater that the influencer's wearing. It's about, can I get the person to click over to my account and maybe follow me? And then because I'm the business owner, my job is to close the sale. The influencer doesn't ever close the sale. She gets you eyeballs, but then you have to convert the eyeballs into a sale. So is it worth it for me to invest money in this new customer acquisition strategy? Or should I be investing my money into running Facebook retargeting ads that's going to retarget 98% of people that visit my website and don't convert? Because average e-commerce conversion rates are 2%. So where is my money better spent? So I really want you to think about, again, just because everyone else is working with influencers, we think about where is that money best spent right now for the stage that your business is in, and then if you're ready to take the leap, get a contract and make sure you've got the person that really fits your ideal brand. Number 5, more video. More video, right? Can I say a swear word? How many of you guys feel like your life sometimes is kind of a shit show? Okay, a lot of people do. And that's why we love reality TV, right? Because we're like, oh, I am not alone, right? Someone else deals with this. And as much as I'd like to say video is about like being glamorous and showing all the cool clothes that you have in your boutique, it's not. It is about building relationships with your customers and your customers feeling like they know, like, and trust you. And so you're bringing them behind the scenes in your brand. So whether you want to use video as a live sale, if you're doing comment sold, comment selling, or you want to do a video as Wine Down Wednesday where you're having a glass of wine and you're just talking, right? Maybe it's dressing room confessions. Maybe that's your video. How many of you guys feel like if you have a brick and mortar, the women come into your dressing room and it's like being at your psychologist's office? You should start charging for that, absolutely, right? I don't know if this is in my slides or not, but something I want to hit on, and I'll come back to it if I have to, is that so many times in business, let me go on this dressing room confessional, so many times in business, we are so inspired by business leaders and motivational people like Rachel Hollis and Brendan Burchard, whoever it is in your world, right? But a lot of times our customers don't align with those people, right? My sisters, I tell them all the time how much I love Brendan Burchard, and they're like, I don't really like Brendan Burchard. He uses big words. He doesn't make me feel comfortable, right? He's not my person. And I'm like, that's okay. Okay, who do you like to follow? And they're like, I like to follow this local business owner in my community. I just think it's awesome what she's built. I love following her social media. So think about that with your own social media. Your customers are most inspired by you, right? It's not the people you're following, it's you. So the more you take the opportunity to build a relationship with them, and again, it's not just about clothes, but it's about the meaning behind what you're doing and who you are and your views on the world, your customers are really attracted to that. And video is such a powerful way to share that message. And it goes on with number 6, forget likes, embrace engagement. So the way that any algorithm works, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, The algorithm knows when people have stopped the scroll, they've clicked a like, they've commented, they've done something to engage with your content, and then the algorithm says, oh, you like her. Let me show you more of her, right? Or him. Sorry, guys. I'm used to speaking to a lot of women, so men, sorry. I'm going to show you more of their content, and the next content I'm going to post as a business owner is something that's for sale, okay? So the more my engagement goes up, the more I get the people engaging. Now the next time I post something for sale, more people are going to see it, more people are going to convert, right? So social media truly is a strategy and it's a game of raising engagement on the front end so we can convert more on the back end. Just like Gary Vee says, we can't do this jab, 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 right hook without the jab, jab, jab. Jab, jab, jab is soft sell engagement. Right hook is come in and ask for the sale. If all we did was sell all day, how many of your customers are in a position to buy something at every moment of every day? Zero. So if all we're doing is constantly selling, we're really turning off 90% of our customer base because they just aren't in a position to buy right now. So how do we keep them engaged? Ask them what they had for dinner last night, right? Ask them, you're busy, you have businesses, that's why you're here. How many of you guys use HelloFresh? Something like that, Home Chef, something like that. Talk about it. Talk about your day-to-day life as an individual. You're inspiring them, you're motivating them, you're building a relationship with them, but tricky, you're building engagement so that you come in with the right hook, and now you've got all these beautiful items for sale that the algorithm is going to show to more people, and we're going to start to convert more of our sales. Number 7, who's on TikTok? I have not looked up the song that my kids were singing yet, but I need to go find it. And my nephews are gonna die. TikTok's this is a real deal. I know there's a lot of concerns about TikTok right now, but honestly, it's like crack, right? They're gonna get addicted. It is a really powerful platform. So how are we embracing whatever technology is coming, at least being familiar with it, putting our toe in the water? You guys, at minimum, go get your handles. Go get your handle before someone else gets your handle on any of these platforms. And if you decide to go all in, great. If you don't, no worries, but you've got your branded handle so somebody else can't get it before you. So I'm gonna say this out of one side of my mouth, get your handle, get on TikTok, but out of the other side of my mouth, I'm gonna remind you who's your customer, and if this isn't your customer, that's okay. Get your handle anyway, but do what you do best. If you know your girls on Facebook, if you know your guys on Instagram, you gotta go there first and build that core solid foundation of your business, and then you can go on to whatever that next sweet technology is gonna be. Number 8, buying is a full-time job. And there's no excuse to come to a great market like this and not have an open to buy plan, or not come and know how many SKUs you're gonna buy in every single category in your business, and to know which categories are your best turning categories, or what brands are your best turning brands. Okay, we have so much available data to our businesses right now that we have to use it. We cannot get lost in the art side of our business and not embrace the business of our business. You know, it used to be years ago, and I know some of you in the room can attest to this, that you would come to market and your customers were so excited. They were like, oh my gosh, what's gonna be coming for spring? What's gonna be coming for fall? And you were the leader. You were the trend leader for your business. But, and especially if you're from North Dakota, right? But today it's not the case because everybody's on Instagram. Everybody knows what's coming. So if your game isn't super sharp, right? If you're a little late with something, your customer knows and she's moved on. So it's really important, you guys, that while you're here, one of the best things that Kelly and the crew do here is trend education, right? And just walking around, take as many pictures as you can. Get inspired by styling, by combos, by patterns, by mannequins, by displays, all the things, so that you can take them back and be even sharper when you get home. But if we're a little bit late, or if our photos aren't styled, or if our photo quality is low, or if we aren't buying in the right categories, there's real consequences to that. So use your data and make sure that buying is a full-time job, either for you or for somebody on your team. Do what you do best and hire the rest, right? Number 9, amen. Average size in America is what, size 14? And most brands go to size 12? It's kind of a problem, right? So how are we addressing this? This is kind of a chicken and an egg, but I think the most important thing we can do is have this conversation with our vendors. How can we address this? And when we're back home in our stores, how are we using our photography to our advantage? How are we using our video to our advantage? If you want to sell to your customer with curves and you're a size 2, that's not going to work. So you got to bring in a model that has curves and understands, right? Our job as our, what did we call it? Our dressing room psychologist? Is that what we're gonna brand that? We're gonna trademark it, okay? Part of it is understanding what is our customer's fear and frustration, the biggest fear and frustration, and then we have to mitigate it and get to the root of it and have an answer to it. And this is a huge fear and frustration, not understanding how pieces fit, especially if we're in fast fashion and we're not into pieces that are, a little bit higher end, a little bit higher quality. This is a really big deal. So photography, flat lays do not work if you're trying to sell to a woman with curves. So get the right model, get the right person speaking the lingo, right? And have this conversation with your vendors every day. And you guys, a lot of times this comes down to just try on sessions. Just try on videos where you or someone else is in the mirror just talking about, hey, this is how it fits, this is how it lays, this is the quality. I've washed it once, I've tested it. That's why people come to you and not Amazon, is because you can give real life feedback that those other stores just can't do. So think about that, and then also think about, again, the quality of the brands that you're bringing in too and how that's going to impact your customer. Number 10, up your photography game. No more using stock photos, okay? Because you're going to look like Karen down the street immediately. What sets you apart, going back to buying as a full-time job, is your ability to make something uniquely you. You have a gift for fashion. I know that's why you're in this room, and I think sometimes we take that for granted. Would you agree? Our customers come to us and they're like, I don't know how to put these pieces together. How do you do that? That's a real thing. You have a real skill, and we do take it for granted. So up your photography game and make sure that we're really showing our customers, we're educating them on how to put pieces together. And you guys, if something isn't selling, if we run an aging report every week, which we should be doing, and something isn't selling, the first question is, why isn't it selling? And a lot of times that comes back to people don't understand how to wear it. So restyle it, reshoot it, repost it, run a fit video with it, and chances are you're going to move through that product really quickly. How many of you guys are really adamant about running aging reports every week in your business? Oh, it was a 0. Who's like, what's an aging report? A couple of you, perfect. All right, so your point of sale solution, most point of sale solutions or Shopify, you can run that. If you have Delirious Profit or Shopventory with Shopify as a third-party app, you can get to those numbers. It's basically saying what's been on hand for a set period of time that's not new. It's something that needs to get out the door, right? If we looked at our inventory, I think sometimes we come to market and we get kind of emotionally attached to our inventory. We're like, oh, I remember when I saw that. Like I saw that in Dallas, I saw that in Atlanta, I saw that in Vegas. I know Karen's gonna look good wearing that. And we get attached to it and you're like, oh, I can't sell that, I can't mark it down. But if we looked at every hanger or every bin in our warehouse as $20 bills, how would we react differently in our business? It's not a cute sweater, it's a $20 bill, get it out the door. So aging reports, gotta be a thing. So we can look at it, restyle it, reshoot it, repost it. The other thing I wanna mention to this is when you're planning your social media for the week and you're posting new content, how many times are you posting a new arrival versus how many times are you posting something that's been in the store or in the warehouse for 2 weeks? Make sense? Right? A lot of times we're like, oh, I've got all these new arrivals, new. Our brains are moving so fast because we know what purchase orders we have. We know it's coming in. So it's new. So when we're creating our plan every week, and we have a whole strategy around this that we call the content sanity method, and it's 6 key pieces of content that we strategize and we post every single week. Some is new, some is aged, right? When we use that method and we go back and go, what's on hand, what do I need to move? Now we start to work that into our routine every single day. We've got 4 new pieces and we've got 2 aged pieces or 2 fit videos or 2 try-on sessions so we can continue to move these older pieces out. All right, remember when I told you about my father-in-law who's been in insurance forever, right? He didn't ever dream of having any other career. But today's youth, today's employees aren't going to stick in one job forever. So I know how hard it is to hire a quality team. Our team has doubled in the last year. And it's not easy. But what we have to remember is more important than the team and what they can do for you is what you can do for them. And when you hire people because you truly love them and you want what's best for them, right? If you give more than you're asking to receive, it's going to be a win-win at the end of the day. If we aren't expecting that we're going to hire Susan and she's going to stay with us for 20 years, but we know Susan has other dreams and we can empower her in those dreams, she's going to be a lot more loyal. She's going to work a lot harder, right? I'll give you an example. Meredith over here. Hi, Meredith. Sorry to put you on the spot. Meredith started working for us in the 7th grade. I think that's illegal. I'll say you were a freshman. She started doing all kinds of things, right? Watching the kids, helping at the house. She produces our podcast today. She runs our entire boutique boss store today. She ships all of our planners today. She runs blog content today. She continually evolves in her position because we want what's best for Meredith. And more than once, we've had the conversation about what happens to Meredith next. Does she want to move? Does she want to go somewhere? What are her dreams? And I'm going to empower her because she's awesome. And if that means someone else gets her at the end of the day, I'm okay with that because I think the world of her. So we think about that with our employees, and we hire not for a position, but for a person. I think retention becomes a lot easier at the end of the day. And always be hiring. Always put a Typeform link on the bottom of your website, and always be asking for letters and resumes. Always be looking. Always have your friends looking for the next person, because we don't know when it's going to become important that we find that very next person. Number 12. Capitalize on vintage. How many vintage pieces did you guys see walking around the show yesterday? A lot. Meredith's also great at going to Savers, the secondhand store, and finding pairs of golden goose for $10. Unbelievable, right? Vintage is such a big deal, you guys, right now. And not just vintage, but I would say upcycled. Re-commerce is what we call it. Depop or ThreadUp or Poshmark, any of those. The more we can empower our customers to clean out their closets and get cash out of their closets, the more cash they have to spend with our businesses, right? So maybe if you have a really loyal following, you start a buy, sell, trade group, Facebook group for your customers. Your customers come in and say, hey, I've got this great piece from your boutique, and they're gonna sell it to other people. The more you can encourage them to flip their closets, again, the more they're gonna come back to you, and maybe you give them perks when they do that. The point is, the more our society is shifting, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, to being environmentally conscious, especially, vintage is going to really continue to be important in fashion. I really look for what's going to happen in California in the next 2 years to impact our industry on this topic, right? How many of your customers are asking you, what are you doing to recycle? Or how many of them looked at what happened with H&M and they're like, there's a lot of waste in the fashion industry, right? At some point, there'll be a Netflix documentary about that. And we're gonna be like, oh, didn't see that coming, but you did, right? We do. We have to think about, in our industry, how are we gonna move this direction? Ethical, environmentally sustainable, all the things. How can you have this conversation now with your customers, with your community, so you can start to move in this direction together with them? Because truly, whatever happens in California, and that's where the law will change first, it will impact every single one of us. How many of you guys see, what are those tags, the hazard tags that come from all your clothes from LA? What's it called? Proposition 65. Yeah. How many of your customers have asked you about that? I see those posts a lot of times in the boutique hub where customers are like, how do I answer this, right? So just think about this. I'm not saying there's an action you have to take right now other than be aware of it and have this conversation potentially with your customers. Number 14. Whew, guys, if you've been in the boutique hub in the last 3 weeks, this has been a roller coaster. Okay, I've seen in the last 3 weeks, I think 7 of our clients have had their entire personal Facebook, Facebook page, Facebook group, or Instagram account completely deleted. One of them was a friend of mine who's been in the boutique hub since the very beginning, whose husband was just recently paralyzed in a very tragic accident. And she had a Dallas Cowboys tee that was reported, and they took all of her accounts. including all the pictures of her husband's progress. He's not even out of the hospital yet. And so she's dealing with that and like, what do I do with this stuff? Okay, so this is really important that you educate yourself on what is trademarked, what's got a copyright, what deserves a licensing agreement. And I'm not an attorney, so legally I cannot give you any advice on this topic other than educate yourselves and get a good attorney and ask questions. And I don't want you to go after your brands, but I want you just to ask the question or just be informed. There are so many great vendors out there that understand this like the back of their hand that are truly going to protect you. There's others that maybe aren't informed and they're possibly selling you something that isn't protected. So I simply want to raise awareness on this topic so that that loss of your social media doesn't happen to you. Last week I had a wonderful conversation with the head of Atlanta, the head of Dallas Market Center, and Kelly here at Magic about how can we as an industry come together and just educate one another on this topic. And I know a lot of times we feel so safe seeing things on the floor or on Fashion Go or wherever, feeling like they're protected, but that's not always the case because that would be really hard for someone to monitor and be the quote-unquote boutique police. Nobody can be the boutique police. We just have to be educated on licensing agreements, whether that's band tees or sports teams, college teams, all the things. Okay? All right. Retail is both a science and an art. Know your numbers. We talked about aging reports a little bit. How many of you guys feel like you have a definite date with your numbers every week? Okay. Oh, come on. Raise your hands really high. How many of you guys are willing to admit that sometimes you're like an ostrich and you put your head in the sand and you don't want to look at your numbers? I love your honesty. I love your honesty. And that used to be me too. You guys, I hated math so bad in high school. I could tell you all kinds of stories. Mr. Nagel. Oh man, me and Mr. Nagel. Did not go good. But as much as I hated math, and as much as it intimidated me, when I used to work in economic development out of college, I had this wonderful woman. Her and her husband owned a hotel in town. And they would come to my office and they would sit and work with me on QuickBooks. And they would just be like, Ashley, once you understand how to make numbers tell a story, now you can take the story and have a lot of fun with it. Now you can plan your marketing campaigns and social media and all the things that you love to do because you have the information to tell the proper story. But if we don't have numbers, we don't have a story, we're truly flying in the dark. And I'm not gonna scare you and save you, but in an election year, sometimes retail is a little bit fickle. So it's important for us to know our numbers now because should our market ever change, what's gonna happen? If we don't know our numbers, we're really gonna be scrambling. So educate yourselves now while our market is so strong in our industry and our consumers are buying things so that we're prepared for that. We know the highs and the lows and the averages and we know what smart moves to make next. Okay, so we talked about aging reports, we've got sales reports by vendor, right? By size, by day, by team member. There's a number of different things. I know Ed's got some boutique boss planners here that even map out every single week what reports you can run and how to track that inside of a day planner just for boutique owners. So every day you're forced to sit down and have a date with your numbers because it's in your day planner. Make sense? So those reports in your point of sale every single week. Number 16, how many of you guys would say that your customer is most like you if you're the leader of your brand? How many would you say your customer's a lot like you, right? A lot of you. So because people want to do business with who they know, like, and trust, they gravitate toward whoever our brand leader is. How many of you guys feel like you definitely have a brand leader? Maybe it's not you, but someone is leading your brand. There's a person that someone can relate to. A couple people? Maybe my question wasn't clear. How many of you guys feel like there's not a leader of your brand, it's just a brand? A couple people, okay. And that's okay. But at the end of the day, who is our customer and what does she need? Right? Who is she looking for? Who does she trust? And a lot of times, again, it's you. You're the spirit leader of your business. She relates to you, she trusts you, and she wants to do business with you. People don't remember what they bought, they remember how you made them feel. And a person can do that a lot easier than just a brand can do it. So be your brand's leader. Be the spirit leader of your brand. Number 17. Everybody's got a Karen, right? Block Karen. I think a lot of times we get into this business and we feel like, oh, my family said they were going to support me, and they said they were going to buy this, and Susan down the street said she was going to buy that, right? And then you're like, hey, it's on sale, and you're like, where you at, Susan? She never shows up, right? And then not only does she not show up, she has an opinion about it. And she found it cheaper on Amazon or Wish or Walmart, right? Her opinion does not matter. And for the record, if you have customers saying your prices are too expensive, right? I can go to Walmart because Walmart has an influencer program now, right? Where they're paying bloggers to go to Walmart and get dressed every single day, okay? Your customer wants to do business with you for a million reasons other than price. It is not your prices. Walmart shoppers are not loyal. They're not, right? They have the, price match guarantee, right? So you can go shop all over and they'll match the price. That does not build loyalty. You build loyalty. Your quality builds loyalty. Something I think is so important when it comes to price is this equilibrium. And again, I talked about this yesterday with some of you, that price is really an equilibrium of where does the perceived value of something outweigh the perceived pain of letting that hard-earned money go out of our pockets, right? So how we set our brand really is how we want to shift that pendulum. Is it increasing value proposition, or is it making you a bargain store? There's a difference between Walmart and Nordstrom. And we should brand ourselves accordingly. And if Karen doesn't like it, she can shop at Walmart. It's okay. All right, number 18, more collaborations. More collaborations. I learned this lesson really early on in economic development when there was a clothing store. Actually, really small town in North Dakota, you guys, where I came from. And boutiques were really not a thing. But there was a clothing store that had this great embroidery business. And there was another clothing store across the street. And when the big clothing store with the embroidery business closed, the other one came to me and they said, Ashley, the board and the Chamber of Commerce and all the people that were in our office, they're like, you've got to do something. You have to find another clothing store to fill this space. And I'm like, hold up, that was your competition, right? Like there was 2 clothing stores, now there's 1. Like I don't understand, this should be like a win-win for you, right? And they're like, no. Anytime there are 2 or more clothing stores together, you become a shopping destination. Ooh, yeah. Really interesting. I will never forget that lesson. And so many times I think we get lost in that of, oh gal, Karen's opening up down the street, right? And you wonder what to do. The coolest experience, one of my favorite things about our community at the Hub is when I see boutique owners send other boutique owners flowers. Welcome to town. Holy smokes. That was my O from North Dakota, by the way. That's really powerful, okay? Collaborations matter today. Whether you're collaborating with another boutique, whether it's a brick and mortar, whether it's online, it's a group of influencers, it's a tire shop, doesn't matter. You can collaborate with anyone and everyone. So the more we look for those opportunities, again, you get what you give every single day. So Sarah, who's on our team, is actually speaking over in the other room right now, but if she was here, I'd pick on her because in her boutique, she had a boutique that was in existence for 67 years. She owned it for 20. Okay, really cool story. And she was so good about collaborating. I mean, she literally would go do pop-ups in the local bar. She would do pop-ups with the local tire shop. She would do pop-ups with a piano store. It doesn't matter, brick and mortar pop-ups. And then she started to do the same thing online. The more she thought about, how do I make this really easy for my customer? How do I show up where the men are doing business and make it really easy for men in my community to shop for their wives, right? The possibilities truly are endless when it comes to that. Could be flower shops on Valentine's Day. Could be a coffee shop on Valentine's Day. Could be a million different things where you could run collaborations. Let me give you a secret. This is a strategy that I absolutely love. I mentioned Typeform. We use Typeform a lot of times to run giveaways that collect information. So in your store, if you want to grow your email list, a great way to do it is to use Typeform to ask for your customers' name, email address, their favorites, basically create a wish list, especially right before Valentine's Day. Create a wish list. What are your favorite things in the store? Not specific products, because you're likely going to be sold out, but tell me about brands and fits and styles. What are things you don't like? And then what's all your sizes? Shoe size, all the things. And then you want to know what the kicker is? Tell me your husband's information. Tell me your spouse's information. Tell me your significant other's information. Name, email address, phone number. Are you okay if I contact them? Okay? Then you have an opportunity to start to market to spouses and significant others when it comes to anniversaries and birthdays and Valentine's Day and the holidays and throughout the entire year. About working smarter and not harder and collaborating with other businesses and collaborating more with your customers. Number 19, this kind of goes back to FOMO, but mental health matters. How many of you guys have taken a vacation in the last 12 months? Ooh, I'm proud of you guys in the back. Awesome. A couple of you guys. It's really easy to feel like you gotta be Gary Vee and hustle all day, every day, but it's about working smarter, not harder. And you guys, this industry can be tough, can it? There's a lot of expectations. You feel like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders sometimes. And so I don't feel like I need to say a whole lot here other than you, and you know when something isn't feeling right with you. And I want you guys to know that there is always someone willing to listen to you when you need it most. Number 20. I get asked all the time, you guys, this is probably the most important thing to me in 2020. I get asked all the time, what is the secret? What is the secret to scaling my business? What is the secret? There's gotta be, this was way too generic, Ashley. These were way too simple, Ashley. There's gotta be more, there's a trick. There's Facebook ad, I know that there is, right? There is a thing that you've gotta tell me to do that will grow my business. And frankly, there's not. It's these things. It's the simple things. It's the things you already know. You already know what you need to do to grow your business. When I first started the Boutique Hub 6 years ago, I met a guy on Twitter. Anytime a story says I met a guy on Twitter, you should cringe. I met a guy on Twitter, and I had this dream of building this really cool platform for boutique owners and for our industry where they could find every tool they ever needed to grow in one place. Wholesale, they could reach and market to customers, retail, they could find education, they could find all these things. No one had ever done it before. And I thought, gosh, that's kind of a big undertaking, and I don't know how to code. I know marketing, I know these things, but there's pieces of this that I have no idea what to do. So I met this guy on Twitter and found out that he had a dream similar to mine. So we started to work together. And I never met the gentleman in person, which again should have been a red flag, Ashley. But we decided we were gonna collaborate, we were gonna join forces. So I changed my business name. I gave him my bank account information. We decided we were going forward. I didn't have papers from the attorney yet, but I trusted him. We spoke every day, right? We were moving on. We had a new Facebook group for the boutique owners we were working with. We had all the things. And then finally about Christmas of that year, I was just like, where's this paperwork? Like, where's this attorney? Is this attorney a real person? Like, what is going on? And finally, my husband and I got on the phone with him and we were like, you know what, deal's off. This does not feel right. Like, we're not seeing you follow up on your end of the deal. We're done. That day, they drained every dollar out of our bank account, every dollar out of PayPal, blocked us from all of our Facebook groups, all of our social media, all of my email list, all the customers that I had built up already over a couple of years being in business. Whew. To be honest, what was I thinking? Number one, I'll tell you that. But number two, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking that I wasn't capable of doing it. I thought for sure someone else has the answer, that I don't have the answer. I will never forget laying on my couch, you guys, and having my husband come up to me and say, you know what? Oh, it's okay. You need to just lay there. I got the kids. Do your thing. It's okay. We'll figure it out. But Ashley said you have to make a choice. Are you going to let him win? Or are you going to do something about it? And so it wasn't that day, but a couple days later, after I got up off the couch, I decided to do something about it. And I hustled really hard to put everything back together. And you know what's ironic about this? One of my biggest dreams ever in creating the Boutique Hub was to build this event that we call the Boutique Summit, which is the largest conference for boutique owners in the world. No one had ever done that before, and he knew that was my dream. So he decided to create a very similarly titled event, and the day that everyone had bought tickets and they were on their way to the airport because the event started the very next day, He canceled it and didn't refund a single ticket. And so these boutique owners are out thousands of dollars. You guys, karma has a really funny way of doing its thing. But the reason I tell you that is as much as you want to believe that there is an answer for your business, I am here to tell you that you already have it. You just have to do the hard thing. What is the hard thing? Right? What is the hard thing? It's showing up every day. It's being consistent. It's taking better photos. It's doing what you do best and hiring the rest. It's knowing the 20% of your list that is going to get you 80% of the results. It is doing the thing you don't want to do and you keep procrastinating. It is not being an ostrich and putting your head in the sand and not knowing your numbers. Okay? You guys, if there's one thing I want you to take away today, it is just simply to do the hard thing. Because there is no perfect answer. You already have the answer. Guys, I'd love to answer any questions you have about this or anything else in your business, about the Boutique Hub. And I have a little download for you too if you want to take a snap of that. You can take it home. You guys have any quick questions? Yes, you got a question?
What happened after that whole scenario that you went through?
With the gentleman, he literally disappeared off of social media and everywhere else. So we had some legal back and forth, but he went away and we really haven't heard from him since. It's been a couple years. Knock on wood. Any other questions?
What's the name of the Shopify app for running agent reports?
Okay, so a really great app is Delirious Profit or Shopventory. Delirious Profit or Shopventory. Shopventory, yep. The cool part about Shopify is they've really made a lot of strides in the last, I'd say even 6 months. I think they're starting to understand that they built a great tech company, but now they have to, if they want to be in retail and e-commerce, they have to be better with data and numbers. So we're starting to see a few more reports come down the pike. You have a question?
Yeah, you talked about copyright a little bit, and I just wanted to ask you about like putting quotes on your Instagram. You know, like say for example, Chanel. As long as you always put that Chanel said it, it's okay to do that. But if you ever left that off, is that something that could be, you know?
That's a great question. And again, I don't feel like I should give you legal advice on that. You should have an attorney that you ask that question to. From what I understand is as long as you're not selling that, it's just a quote on your Instagram,
Yeah.
but you should always give them the author credit.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions? Last call for questions. All right, well you guys, our team is here. Ed's up here if you guys are curious about the Boutique Boss Planner. I mentioned that today. You're welcome up and take a peek at one. Otherwise, I've got a free download for you today as well, and I can answer any questions about the hub. Thank you guys.